And welcome in, everybody. So great to see you guys. I'm hoping that my sound is okay. If one of our ghost hosts could let me know whether or not my sound is okay, I would sure appreciate it. William is going to be just a little bit late. Got tied up probably with some work things, but he'll be in just a few minutes. But we are going to talk a little bit about episode 3 of season 1, Ahsoka. We have so been enjoying this. Gosh, we really I have been enjoying it. I hope that you have. It's getting some pretty high ratings on IMDb. I'm seeing some good, ratings on a lot of the social media pages that I follow and what have you. So I think I think probably after this episode, I think it's probably going to pick up a good bit because after this is episode 3, so um, episode 4 dropped on Tuesday. That puts us halfway. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. Um, can y'all hear me? Okay, let me know if my sound is okay. Um, I'm not sure because William's not here to do a sound check, and I didn't have a chance to. Okay, just a great, Kenneth. Good to see you. Great, some folks in chat. We appreciate y'all being here. Kenneth, watch the replay. That's why we're kind of trying to stay ahead of it, Kenneth, and give y'all some time to watch. So we're staying a little bit ahead of it. But yeah, absolutely do that. We appreciate you so much on all that you do for our channel, Kenneth. We really do. Wonderful World of Walter's Dad, Mark. Welcome in. Thank you so much for that welcome. He's one of our great ghost hosts and a huge Star Wars fan in his own right. So we appreciate you being here. Pam, you are caught up. Pam's fan, welcome in. You're caught up, right? You watched Rebels. Is it great? Oh my goodness. Y'all have heard us recommend watching the Clone Wars and Rebels. Essential episodes, if you want to do that, are in the description of this video below, so you can check those out. If you want to, don't have time to watch the whole thing, there are like 7 seasons of the Clone Wars and several of Rebels. But if you want to watch the essential episodes, our list is in the description of this video.
And then the first through 4th.
Hold on a second.
Thanks so much, Pam. Okay, thank you, Pam. I appreciate that. And there's Dean, the turkey legster, has popped in. Thanks for being here, y'all, as we discuss this next episode in Ahsoka. It's episode 3. Hey, hun, how are you? Thank you, Dean. Appreciate that. Busy day, I'm guessing, for you, William. And did we lose William? Did we get? Oh, he's frozen up. Are you there? We may be having some.
Sorry, I had to adjust sound settings and everything. I didn't realize it was going to pull me straight into the stream. Thought it was going to be in the background, but
yeah, that's that's unusual.
Yeah.
StreamYard has been changing some things up. I've noticed some different things. They're adding some things that should be good. But yeah, so hopefully some good stuff there. But we may have to get used to some changes. Yeah, he's he's back. God, thanks, Pam. We appreciate y'all being here for lunch. Grab some lunch and let's talk about Star Wars. It's one of our favorite things to do. Caution for anybody who is watching on the replay who may be new to the stream or ghost watching. There are spoilers ahead. We go pretty far in depth, so spoilers ahead. This particular episode was 35 minutes, so it was a shorter, a little shorter one, definitely. It was directed by Steph Green, and I don't know if we have seen this person direct before or not. I'm not sure.
Not that I can, not that's coming to my mind. No.
Yeah, but I did notice that. Again, the series takes place in 9ABY, which stands for after the Battle of Yavin. It appears to take place a short time after The Mandalorian season 2. and before the Book of Boba Fett. So we're not sure about that, but that's your general timeline for it, and it's really a continuation of Star Wars Rebels, which is Dave Filoni's animated series, and excellent. Highly recommend that. Recap. Let's do a quick recap, William, of episodes 1 and 2. They were entitled Master and Apprentice, and episode 2 was Toil and Trouble. And I'll go ahead and do that while you're, or unless you want to do it.
No, I'm writing down people's names, so go ahead.
I'll go ahead and
Welcome in, Nick.
kind of recap a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick, welcome in. So Sabine wakes up in the hospital. This is Toil and Trouble. Sabine wakes up in the hospital after enemy droids took the map. Ahsoka follows a lead with Hera to the New Republic shipyard, where they discover a secret Imperial operation going on, which is not supposed to be happening, obviously, because everybody's loyal to, the New Republic, right? Ahsoka battles an Inquisitor in the yard, but fails to prevent the enemy from taking off with a hyperdrive core. They don't know yet where it's going, but they know that's probably a bad thing.
Yeah.
Hera and Chopper, they arrest, everybody is arrested, and they continue on, but the enemy did get away with something. So there's obviously something going on, because Hera and Chopper take off in the Phantom in pursuit of the enemy ship, and they're successful in attaching a tracking device to the ship before it jumps to hyperspace. But then in the meantime, Hu Yang, encourages Sabine to begin her Jedi training again. Excuse me. So all this is happening kind of at once. After some soul searching, Sabine puts on her Mandalorian armor, and she meets Ahsoka to pursue Baylor and Morgan, wherever they just took off to in that ship that just left the New Republic shipyard. So obviously, their suspicions about something going on with the Empire are correct. This is not a random happening. There, this is a plot. So they know that there's something to their suspicion, and they are determined to pursue it because they don't want another war. They just finished a war, so they just really want to, try to squash this if they can, which is why Ahsoka, pursued the map to start with. She thinks it's a map to Grand Admiral Thrawn, and if it's a map to Thrawn, then it's also a map to their very dear friend and Jedi Ezra Bridger. So they have a twofold reason for trying to locate Admiral Thrawn. So we open episode 3. And Hu Yang is putting Sabine through some Jedi training exercises. Now, this is kind of a new look at some of this. We've seen it before, in various Star Wars, franchise, in the franchise and the movies and what have you. But this is a little different. It's another look. Hu Yang is really skeptical of now he's encouraged Sabine to start with her Jedi training again, but he's really skeptical of her progress. It's almost like he's trying to use reverse psychology. I do think that he is honest, and that he's skeptical. I think that a Mandalorian can become a Jedi. I think that's a
the definitely numbers are not in her favor. There haven't been just a ton of Mandalorian Jedi.
And he points that out later to us. So I think he's rooting for her, but he knows that the odds are against her. I think
it's funny. Him holding the little training beams. It kind of reminded me of like General Grievous.
Yep. Yeah, that was
it
pretty
was-
cool. Those little
yeah,
training things that he held up,
yeah,
and they displayed all of her marks, which allows him, I guess, to track her, to see how she did. I thought that was a really, really imaginative
uh-huh.
way to track her progress there. So getting a look at some pretty fascinating tech of the future.
Mhm.
But so Hu Yang said, she finishes, and Hu Yang says, "Well, not bad, but not good."
Not good. Yeah,
So Ahsoka, has walked in and at the end of this whole thing, and she suggests that they try the Zatoichi technique.
Mhm.
Ahsoka says, Ahsoka tells her, you are training the body, but you must also open your mind. Learning to wield the Force takes a deeper commitment. And
Yeah.
so she hands Sabine a helmet, and she puts a helmet on that covers her eyes. Ahsoka then, approaches her, Sabine, with no vision. Ahsoka kind of approaches her from all angles, and touches her, and
Mhm.
she encourages her, focus on my movements, try to sense my movements,
Mhm.
and and fight on instinct, relying
Yeah.
solely on the Force. Sabine, hacks the air, and she really is trying. I mean, it
Yeah.
appears that that Sabine is really trying. She's having trouble wielding the Force. Um, Sabine is not a natural Force wielder.
Yeah.
She is not as Force sensitive as Hu Yang keeps pointing out.
Yeah.
As some of the other prospective Padawans. But
Yeah.
Ahsoka tells her, she does pretty, she hits a couple of times, as Ahsoka,
Mhm.
she actually makes contact with Ahsoka a couple of times, but then she just, kind of flails around, and she ends up frustrated and
Yeah.
falling around. So, Ahsoka cautions her and says, anger and frustration are quick to give power, but they also unbalance you.
Yeah.
So we know that, from Star Wars, that wielding the Force takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
And Sabine is not real mature yet. She's not a natural voice wielder, so she's probably going to have a harder time doing this.
Yeah.
Than much harder time than Ahsoka did, because Ahsoka, it was very strong with the Force when she was discovered by Plo Koon at age 3. And later on they talk a little bit more about talent versus training. So we see some more of that. Was there anything that struck you about this scene in particular, William?
Did you mention the parallel with she can't see, it's same thing Ben Kenobi did with Luke.
It is. Yeah, and I was immediately reminded of that.
Yeah.
It's the same method that Ben Kenobi uses, or that Obi-Wan uses in Star Wars Episode 4 in 1977, the first Star Wars movie with Luke. He tells him to put the helmet on, and the blast shield is down, and Luke says, "Well, I can't see. How am I supposed to fight?"
Yeah.
And Sabine, says the same thing. I love the tie-ins, that they use, and of course, as Star Wars fans, we pick up on those pretty quick.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah. That's that's an excellent question, Pam. And I've seen people, be kind of frustrated, with like why Sabine. I mean that's if you rewind back to Rebels, she obtains the dark saber, and becomes decently adept with it. Defeats Gar Saxon with it, but ultimately hands it over to Bo-Katan. But I mean it's difficult for her, and and Kanan even Kanan even expresses his frustrations with her, and it's basically says she's so Mandalorian, and
which
so
is not a bad thing,
yeah, and so but anyway, it's just very yeah, I mean, it's a great question. Why are they training her? I think
Mhm.
with with Ezra, out of the picture currently, I guess this door. I guess this door just kind of opened to her since
Mhm.
Ezra's lightsaber ended up
Mhm.
coming into her possession. We don't.
Well, and Ahsoka, she and Ahsoka, teaming up to try and
Yeah,
find
to try to
Ezra
find
at
it.
the
Yeah,
at the end of Rebels. It's I guess it's kind of a natural thing. Well, do you want
yeah,
to be trained as a Jedi? And we know
yeah,
that, that the creator of the dark saber,
yeah,
was both Mandalorian and
yeah.
Jedi. So he was
Hmm.
the first Tar Vizsla.
Yeah,
Is that
Tarvis.
right? Tar
Yep,
Vizsla.
yep.
So, that's a piece of it. But yeah, this is kind of a surprise, Pam,
Yeah, it is.
that she's a Padawan of
Yep.
Ahsoka's. That's new in this, a new introduction. So
Yeah,
it's a little interesting
yeah.
storyline there for us. Now now Sabine. I will say I do too, Mark.
Yeah,
Wow, we totally love all that dark saber lore.
yeah,
And I've always thought it would be interesting to go back and talk about Tar Vizsla and the dark saber. And it seems to me, and Mando, I know we're chasing a rabbit here, but I'll try to hurry. Mando, talks to the armor about the fact that the Mandalorian way is not at all like the Jedi way. So, to try and combine the two philosophies or the two religions is a challenge. They're in conflict in many ways. So, that could be another piece to this puzzle, Pam, and why Sabine is having so much trouble,
yeah,
because Sabine is Mandalorian. She
yeah,
is all men. The Clan Wren.
yeah,
She's a strong Mandalorian, in Rebels, and
yeah.
has a lot of fighting skill in her own right as a Mandalorian. So,
Hmm.
trying to learn the Jedi way is probably, it's just awkward for her. And she's
Yeah,
not as force sensitive
yeah.
as some of the other Padawans, as Hu Yang keeps pointing out.
Uh-huh.
So,
So
but
next scene we move on. So we have Hera meeting with the senators. She
mhm.
engages in some politics, meeting with Mon Mothma.
Mm,
And another thing too is it's cool because the room that she walks into to talk to them, is like the same briefing room that's used. And so it's always cool whenever we get brought back into like one of the original
right.
sets,
Familiar,
essentially.
yeah,
Yeah,
familiar territory. Mhm.
it's like with Boba going back, after the end of the Mandalorian season 2, him going and taking over, Jabba's palace, and
Yeah,
so it's cool
yeah.
to see us be brought back into these classic scenes and sets.
A lot of
Um,
attention to that detail.
yeah, and so anyway, she goes meets with Mon Mothma and the other senators, and Mothma politely asks about Jason, which who is Hera and Kanan Jarrus or Caleb Dune's son. Um, they move on to the business at hand. Hera expresses her concerns about the attack on the Vesper, and tells them of the attack at the shipyard by Imperial loyalists. And one of the senators calls them outliers, saying that they're basically in the minority. It's like, oh, they're there, but
Yeah,
no big
just kind
deal.
of,
Don't worry about
no
it.
big
You brush it
deal.
off a little
Yeah.
bit. And so
Mm.
Hera says, "Long live the Empire." Doesn't sound like the kind of loyalty we're looking for. Uh,
Uh,
and so
and if
she,
that's, of course, one of the things that, one of them shouts just before he attacks
yeah,
Ahsoka, which didn't go well for him.
no, it didn't.
But yeah, long live the Empire is not exactly what we're looking for in
Uh,
loyalty. And Hera is extremely concerned, and the senators are, as politicians will do, are
mhm,
trying to tamp down, maybe allay some of her fears, maybe,
yeah.
just brush it off and kind of ignore it, make it go away.
Uh-huh. So Hera tells them of her suspicion regarding Thrawn's return, and it's funny because Mon Mothma is like, oh, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Like,
Mhm.
it,
Yeah.
it's
She's
just,
kind
but
of
it's like,
shocked.
okay, how many other Thrawns do you know? Like, um, yeah, I mean, he's the guy.
Oh,
She's a nerve saying that he
that's a
disappeared
name that
years
Mon
ago.
Mothma does not want to hear.
Uh-huh.
That's yeah.
And Hera requests a squadron to go to the NAB system to investigate. One of the senators says that this is just another way for her to continue her personal crusade to find Ezra Bridger, saying that the resources could be put to more practical use.
And the senators, the senators are kind of, the senators are, are I don't not really combative, but
Yeah,
they're accusatory in this.
yeah.
Well, this guy really gets on my nerves. I'm not
Mhm.
sure the senator's name. I didn't take
Yeah.
time to look it up, but
Yeah.
he's saying, well, this is just your way
Yeah.
of using
This is
New
your side
Republic
project.
resources to go off on your personal crusade. To throws that that barb at her. And she responds pretty well. She kind of cuts
Yeah.
him off at the knees.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she tells him, were you ever in the war, Senator? He replies, no. And she says, so you just sat back and waited to see who came out on top?
Ouch.
It's, yeah.
Ouch. And
Yeesh.
that hangs in the air for a point,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Score.
Hera. I love that. I thought, you
Yeah.
go, girl.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you've watched Rebels and you've seen all that Hera, and the Phoenix Squad has been through.
Yeah.
My goodness, for for him, him to dismiss her here, and make it seem like what she does is trivial is, a slap in the face.
Yeah.
And so
and she puts it.
he
She puts it
100%.
right back in his lap.
Yeah,
Good for
yeah,
Hera. She's no
he
shrinking
deserves that.
violet.
And then another senator says they are now in charge of serving the New Republic that Hera helped to establish, but the people are weary of conflict. Hera points out that they don't have a choice if Thrawn is returning. The senators insist that they see no enemy, that the Imperial fleet is scattered and broken and poses no threat. Pride comes before a fall.
It's like, okay,
Yeah.
if it's an old ostrich, if we put our
Yeah.
heads in the sand and don't look,
Yeah.
then it's not
Can't see
going to be
forest for the trees, and so
yeah.
it's funny. I've seen people use this scene in these quotes, and then it shows like the First Order. It's like went from one tyrannical reign to another,
Right.
and so yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably don't
The
don't
bad
see a
guys-
threat because they don't want to see a threat.
Unfortunately, there are always more bad guys.
Yeah.
There are
And
always
so-
more bad guys. Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? The price of freedom is eternal vigilance, I believe.
Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah. And so
Thomas Jefferson.
the Hera tells them that Thrawn is different from other enemies, not the typical Imperial officer she knows since she has fought him. And she said, I spent most of my life fighting a war, and that's why I'm trying to convince you to help me prevent another one.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, because Hera's sick of fight. Hera doesn't want to fight another war either. She's trying to get on top of this, and head this threat off before it gets started. So, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. The senators insist the Grand Admiral Thrawn is dead, that Ezra Bridger died heroically with him. Mon Mothma interrupts the heated conversation and requests a confab with the other senators in private.
Yeah.
So
Mon Mothma is trying to kind of diffuse the, she's trying to cut the tension in the room and request that, a private meeting with her colleagues to discuss it. So it's going to be a D&D and discuss and dismiss, we know, but Hera, respectfully, addresses the senators, and Mon Mothma leaves the room, and she heads out into the corridor, and she's just, frustrated. It's typical politics, and she's kind of resigned, I think, to what's going to happen. But so she finds Jason, her son, in the corridor. And we're introduced to Jason for the first time in the very last episode of Rebels, and he is the son.
Green hair and all.
Green hair and all, yeah.
Mhm.
He's got a little bit of Twi'lek in him, although he looks pretty much human like his dad. He runs up and he says, "Is it true Aunt Sabine's going to be a Jedi?" And she's like, "Where did you hear that?" And he says, "Well,
Yeah.
Chopper told him." And Chopper again. I'm loving seeing Chopper in live
Yeah.
action. By the way,
Yeah,
little
it's
droid.
fun.
Yeah, I am really excited about that.
Yeah.
And he says, "I want to be a Jedi." And Hera kind of gives him this this mama look and says, "Yeah, I know you do, Jason." Jason, growing up and hearing stories of his father,
Yeah.
Kanan Jarrus, who is a Jedi. He survived, who was a Jedi. He survived Order 66, but he died later. He sacrificed himself in the
And you
Galactic
actually
Civil War.
see young Caleb Dune or Kanan Jarrus survive the Order 66 in the first episode of The Bad Batch. So
Yes,
if you're curious to see
Yes.
that, you do actually get to see that.
That's true. Yeah.
And,
First
personally.
episode of The Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Kanan, you could see a young Kanan survive Order 66. Yeah, that's true. They're tying so much of this together for us. They really are.
With this master being Deepa Vallabha, we see her,
Mhm.
unfortunate, she doesn't make it through Order
Yeah.
66, but, helps him
So
to run.
many,
So
there are not many
it's
Jedi
funny.
left.
Yeah, I'd see people comment. It's like, man, she's like, I've seen people comment, be like, I don't know that I would trust Chopper to babysit. So it cracked me up. I saw some people commenting on that.
Pam. It really can be confusing. The fact that you've watched Rebels,
Puts you ahead of the game for sure.
It puts you really ahead of the game because Rebels is fantastic. It got better as it
did.
progressed. But
Absolutely.
now they're also on Disney Plus. They have a timeline. They have all the series in timeline order. So you might take a look at that if you're curious. As far as Ahsoka, go back and start watching the Clone Wars. Have you watched the Clone Wars, Pam? But yeah, it can be confusing as to the timeline. You have to. I'm a visual person. I may try to do a timeline chart for us next week, and I'll make a note of that. But let's move on, William.
So on board Ahsoka's ship, do you want to run with this one?
Sure. So we swap then to Ahsoka's ship, and Ahsoka and Sabine meet in a common area after her training exercise, and she tells Ahsoka that she can't use the Force, not like Ahsoka does. And Ahsoka is really trying to walk her through this period, this early period, and she agrees that talent is a factor, but training and focus are what truly defines someone's success. Ahsoka moves a glass towards her using the Force. She's trying to illustrate this to Sabine, and so she moves. So she causes this glass that's on the table to move towards her, and so she kind of wraps the conversation and says, "Start out small." So she's telling Sabine, instead of trying to lift the X-wing out of the swamp on
Dagobah,
like Luke did,
or like Yoda
did. He that it's mentally it's too big. Now Yoda says there's no difference. It's no different. But Ahsoka is trying to say, okay, then start with something small, and Ahsoka and Sabine says, Ahsoka, I'm going to give this my best. So Ahsoka, heads to the bridge then and joins Hu Yang, and he informs her that there's no word on support from the New Republic yet. So they know that Hera is kind of pleading their case and, asking for some resources and some help from the New Republic. as they try to track down this threat. But she asks him about his comments to Sabine and says, that she's not a suitable Jedi training candidate. And he really he says, well, she's not. I've seen a lot of Jedi training candidates and worked with a lot of Padawans.
I mean, I don't know that anybody's more qualified to to advise on this matter.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about. He's had a great deal of experience with Padawans, and he points out that the Jedi never would have accepted Sabine as a Padawan. And Ahsoka says, "Well, they're not always right, are they?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ahsoka has her own issues with the Jedi. Excuse me. But again, she says, I'm no Jedi. But he points out that historically there have been very few Mandalorian Jedi, that the odds are in fact against her. And Ahsoka makes an interesting statement here. She says, I don't necessarily want her to be a Jedi. I just want her to be herself. So that, to me, that says that Ahsoka is trying to help her become, yes, to train as a Jedi. Yeah. But if she doesn't become a Jedi, I think Ahsoka is playing chess here. She wants to help Sabine mature and come into her own, to feel confident in the woman that she is becoming, and to grow closer to her. She's very fond of Sabine. So, and Hu Yang says, you do come from a long line of non-traditional Jedi. In that way, I suppose she fits right in. So meanwhile, we cut, back to Sabine, and she's working on moving that glass toward her. Just moving a glass across the table, using doors. And she tries, and she doesn't have any success. And so, Ahsoka calls her on the comm, to the bridge, and she looks at the glass and says, "Well, you win this round." Anyway, Sabine goes to the bridge, and Hera is on the comm, and she tells them that they're not going to get any support from the New Republic. So, they're. Yeah, so they are, the transmission gets cut off as they enter the Deneb system. So they've arrived at the Deneb system to see what's there. What is it that, that they're going to find there? Hu Yang tells them that the transport from the shipyard is in orbit around the planet, but there's also something on the far side of the planet that's much larger. It's unidentifiable. So, he says there's something really big on the other side of this planet. So, immediately in the Deneb system, they are attacked by 6 enemy ships, and they're led by Shin, and Sabine goes to man the tail gun. They have to immediately jump into defensive mode here, and she's fighting, and she keeps missing, and Ahsoka encourages her to anticipate. This kind of put me in mind of the scene where, on the Millennium Falcon, when Luke is firing at the Imperial, at the TIE fighters, and Han says, "Don't get cocky, kid." He finally hits one, and says, "I got one," and Han says, "Don't get cocky, kid." It kind of, reminded me of that a little bit. Yeah. But the fight continues, and Sabine tells Ahsoka to put the ship into a dive. Now, I think when she tells her this, I think at this point she's pulling from her Mandalorian experience, don't you, William?
Yeah, probably.
Welcome in.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks so much. We appreciate that. And Dave, I didn't say hello to you earlier, but I really do think because I think she's pulling from her Mandalorian strategy when she tries to.
Nope. Am I frozen? Is Mom frozen? let me know, chat. I don't know if I'm frozen or if Mom's frozen. We'll move forward just a second. If y'all can give me a heads up on who's frozen here. Mom's frozen. All righty. Thank you, Mark. Well, I will go ahead and proceed. So yeah, we're Sabine tells Ahsoka to go ahead and dive. Oh, there you are. Oh, is she coming back? Maybe not. She's still frozen. All right. Well, we'll keep moving. So Sabine. Let's see here. Sorry, get caught up. So Sabine tells Ahsoka to put the ship in a dive. They come back up behind the enemy fighters, and Sabine has a clear shot. Ahsoka flies between two of the fighters, and Sabine shoots one down, and then two more. They fly into the visual range of the ring that Morgan is constructing. Now, this is, appears to be a hyperspace transport ring or a hyperdrive docking ring, but it's incredibly large. And so, continuing on, Yang says that it looks like some kind of hyperspace ring. Morgan tells Shin that she is surprised that her squadron was unsuccessful and that she will deal with Ahsoka herself. Oh, there you are. You're back.
Don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we tried to move. Yeah, there.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry
and so I'm at the I moved to the next section. So I'm at the enemy ship pulls away.
Okay.
And so the enemy ships pull away. Unaware, Yang is trying to run a scan to confirm the ring's purpose and design. He tells Ahsoka that to hold the ship steady. Morgan gives the order to open fire with the turbo lasers. So as Yang continues to scan, Ahsoka avoids enemy fire. Deflectors weaken as the scan completes. Morgan assumes that the last blast has destroyed Ahsoka's ship. The ship survived, but it's crippled. Shin mockingly tells Morgan that she is surprised that she was unsuccessful and she will take it from here.
So Shin kind of handed that back to her a little bit.
And so
Ahsoka, you didn't do any better than I did the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, thanks, Pam. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
And so Ahsoka and Sabine scramble to make repairs as Yang is down. Which this scene, I've seen the some people criticize this scene. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was I've talked with a good buddy of mine, and it's interesting because you can see the influence that Anakin and Obi-Wan have had on Ahsoka through just like the way that her demeanor, the way she handles herself, some of the things she does, and 100% this is something that Anakin would have done. And so,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
So, we see a few
scenes.
Was
a commander. Ahsoka was a commander in the Clone Wars, so she's no novice to warfare and enemy strategy, strategizing. How to get past these things. She's had to do it a lot. And
so, there are a few scenes where you do see, Jedi. It's a handful, probably 2 or 3, if not just a little bit more, where you do see Jedi go out into space. So this is not, unprecedented per se, but it is for live action. Where they're in the middle of combat, and so Ahsoka puts on an anti-gravity suit, and walks out onto the wing of the ship, and Shin sees her and fires. Ahsoka evades her first pass, and Sabine is able to take out
love this.
two of the enemy ships.
Yeah. I loved it. Yeah, this is, I agree with you 100%. This is totally an Anakin move.
Yeah.
It really is. It's very unexpected. Yeah.
And so, she her using her lightsaber to slash one of the ships was pretty awesome. Cool. And then, she's floating in space, and Ahsoka radios Sabine to pull her in. But they're still being pursued by Shin. And they end up, or while they're still being pursued by Shin, they run into a herd of Purrgil, which, again, we've seen these before in Rebels, and we saw them in the in season 3 of The Mandalorian, as as Mando takes a bit of a nap. We see Grogu, and you see as they're flying through hyperspace, you see the Purrgil, and so obviously, a little bit of foreshadowing
it's almost,
there.
in that scene, it's almost as if, it's almost as if Grogu kind of has an attachment with the Purrgil as he's looking out the window. They remind me of whales. Obviously, they're space whales, and they they were a semi as a Purrgil. I'll look this up, guys, on Wikipedia.com for all things Star Wars. Purrgil were a semi-sentient species of massive whales that lived in deep space, traveling from star system to star system. Regular Purrgil were only the size of a small starship, while members of a subspecies known as Purrgil Ultra were significantly larger. Living in groups consisting of up to dozens of individuals. They were able to fly through hyperspace by creating simu-tunnels. So they create their own hyperspace tunnels naturally. It's a natural ability inspired other sentients to develop hyperdrive technology and wayfinders that were used for hyperspace navigation. So, it apparently, what this is saying is that the ability of the Purrgil to use those tunnels are what inspired hyperspace navigation. Jedi Padawan Ezra Bridger, another member of the Spectres, was able to establish a connection to the whales when he encountered a group of them at a gas refinery in 3 BBY. He later used that bond to ally with a group of Purrgil against Imperial Grand Admiral Thrawn's 7th Fleet during the liberation of Lothal. And of course, that was, ultimately, they removed the fleet from the planet by having the Purrgil wrap their tentacles around Thrawn's starship and drag him into hyperspace. And so it was the Purrgil, dragging Thrawn away at the end of, that's the reason he's in exile. That's the reason they don't know, where he is the Purrgil dragged him away. And Ezra, instead of leaving that ship, chose to be, pulled away with Thrawn to try and vanquish him, I think, to try and be sure that, he actually was gone. So seeing these Purrgil is really, really significant. They know they're on the right track. So it's really neat to see them again, and we get a better look at them. This first time outside of that scene in The Mandalorian. This is the first time we've seen them in live action. And so very well done, I might add.
Ahsoka's still under fire, trying to get away from Shin. She's kind of weaving. They're both kind of weaving through the Purrgil. Shin loses them in the heavy fog, and they land on the planet below Denab. Huyang wakes up asking what he missed, and so Ahsoka instructs him to shut down standard Jedi protocol.
Huyang is really, really fond of throwing that phrase at them. What standard Jedi protocol? I'm following standard Jedi. So Ahsoka he protests, and she says, "No, it's standard Jedi protocol. You need to shut down." So that it makes sense.
They cut all the power, so she can't find them, and so she flies away to regroup. She can't find him. And so while hiding from Shin and Merrick within the Force canopy, Ahsoka turns off all the ship's systems, points out to Huyang that such an action also includes turning his system off. She then does just that. And say there's a subtle reference there to season 1, episode 2 of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, when Ahsoka forgets to turn off the medical droid when General Grievous is searching for the ship she and Anakin Skywalker are in.
And that's how Grievous is able to locate them. So she's not going to be able to. She's not going to forget that. They're essentially going dark so that they can't be tracked in any way.
Exactly. Sabine sadly comments once they're in the clear that to Ahsoka that she hasn't seen those creatures since the day Ezra disappeared. Huyang tells them then that the hyperspace ring that Morgan is constructing is capable of astonishing speed and distance. He confirms that the ring can make a jump between galaxies along the Purgil's star paths. And so Balin instructs Merrick and his minions to find Ahsoka's ship, hunt them down. So, let's see, a little bit of trivia here. Shin and Merrick's starfighters appear to have similar cabin and fuselage to General Grievous's starfighter, the Soulless One, while simultaneously
Soulless One. Think about that. Name for your starfighter appropriately enough.
While having the wings of a Republic Z-95 headhunter. It's possible these starfighters are cobbled together from Clone Wars era surplus. It's possible. So, so that's a good one, Mom. That's cool that you're able to track down that effect there.
Yeah, so they're really, and I know that that most people don't get that far into the trivia to know the different ships, but I have kind of started paying attention to some of the ships, and it's interesting that at this point in time, they're like the New Republic is pulling parts from old Imperial vessels for their fleet, so they're really robbing parts and putting together ships as best they can, and that's happening on the other side as well. Because,
that's a good point.
So but what did you think about this?
I really enjoyed it. It's interesting that they've decided to go with the storyline of Sabine training. Sabine being Ahsoka's Padawan. I think that throws kind of an interesting twist in there. But people were skeptical of the scene with Ahsoka in space, and I thought that was just right on par.
I thought it was fun. I did too. I felt the same way. That was an Anakin move. It's totally an Anakin move. Yeah.
I mean, just to do whatever you have to do to buy some time, essentially.
That's it. And Ahsoka learned that. Ahsoka learned that from Anakin. To be, think outside the box. Obi-Wan Kenobi is an inside the box Jedi. He's totally an inside the box Jedi. And when he and Anakin, as his Padawan, had friction, it was because of that. It was because Anakin was unconventional.
He's coloring outside the lines. Yeah.
Yes. And so Ahsoka, to me, is a really good mix of both philosophies. She's inside. She's trying to keep. Sabine inside the lines, while still allowing her, without squashing her outside the lines. Tendencies.
Well, still being able to maintain her personality. And who she is.
Yes. She wants her to, to bloom where she is, bloom where your planet is. She's trying to, Obi-Wan, I think, tried to dissuade Anakin a lot from going outside, and being unconventional in his thinking. Ahsoka, who is more like Anakin in her approach, is trying to get a mix of that with Sabine. The discipline, while still maintaining Sabine's personality and her fire and her, her creativity and all that. Because Sabine, Sabine's an artsy type. She's the artist. And so Ahsoka doesn't want to squash that fire in her.
Let's see here. Let's see. What else do we want to cover here?
Well, I'm enjoying the series so far.
Me too.
It's going to be interesting, to see where they go with that. With that
I've not watched episode 4 yet, and so I'm really looking forward to it. And I'll be darned if there's not a spoiler already. You can't get on social media. You just can't. And so I've already seen one spoiler. There's a certain well-known character that apparently is featured in this next episode. And so I was like, dadgummit. I mean, I knew it was coming, so it's not like, it was nothing like the the Luke cameo in the season 2 finale of Mandalorian. That
Oh
was,
no,
I mean, they kept that thing covered up. We'd seen,
Herculean
yeah,
episode.
yeah,
To keep
we'd
that under wraps.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so we've seen, we've seen, we've seen rumblings that a certain
Oh yeah.
character was going to be involved in the show, and we had a good, I mean, we had a good feeling, and we had, a good
Oh
feeling
yeah.
about it. We knew it was coming, and so
Yeah.
anyway, I
have watched episode 4.
Yeah.
Wow. I will say this, guys. Episode 4 kicks us into hyperdrive.
Okay.
Just
which it
buckle in.
should, because I mean that's the halfway point
Yes.
in the show. Did you see
It
that
is.
they're doing select theater showings of episode 5?
Yes, I did, and I
Yeah.
plan on trying to go see that.
I haven't seen which theaters are showing it, but I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
like
They're also show just
episode
as a
5
sideline.
must be pretty big for them to do that. So
Yeah. I am so
there
going.
must be something major that happens in episode 5. We'll
I
see.
am there.
Yeah.
I am there. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I saw a lot. I read something I didn't have. I just kind of skimmed over it because I didn't have time to really look at it. But
Yeah.
wow. So we got to look for that. We got to look. Golly, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
To be able to see that in theaters. Wow. Got to do that. And the my other thought is, we're getting closer to seeing Admiral Thrawn and Ezra Bridger.
Yeah.
Now we saw Ezra in the little hollow message, that he left for Sabine.
Yeah.
But we know we're going to see, Mars Mickelson is going to reprise his role, his voice role in the live action, which is going to be great. And we know that, guys, we've already seen that Hayden Christensen is supposed to appear as Anakin. He's that's coming. We know that they're, that's going to be a thing. I'll tell you what, I love Hayden Christensen as Anakin. I think he's perfect as Anakin. They even made in the Clone Wars, they made him look like Hayden Christensen. They drew his character. I think he's great as Anakin. I love him, and I'm excited to see him. It really, what you learn about Anakin, you learn really, really to love Anakin as a character in the Clone Wars, which, as you're watching it, your heart is just hurting because you realize what happens to, the more you love him, the more it upsets you to realize, what happens. But I love Hayden Christensen, so I'm really excited to see him. And those were just a couple of, IMDb is still rating this a 7.5 out of 10 for this episode. So, really looking forward to it. I love the Purrgil angle. Yeah. I love that angle that we're going to learn more about them. It's just fascinating, y'all. Yeah. Just fascinating Star Wars lore. And I will reiterate that I thought Ahsoka's climbing, putting on the anti-gravity suit and climbing out onto the wing. The shots were so convincing. That looked so real. I mean,
it was really cool. It was really cool.
It was cool. Come on, guys. Come on. Just be entertained. Just go with it. And remember who Ahsoka is and whose Padawan she was, who she was trained by. Yeah. Ahsoka has, Ahsoka was let's say too that when Ahsoka was young, think about young Ahsoka. She was an out of the box thinker to start with.
Yeah, she was.
She really was. She was very independent and very much, a don't color in the lines thinker herself. In addition to Anakin's, influence as her master, as her Jedi master. So, just a lot of personality. A lot of different personalities going on here. Yeah. I love the interaction of the characters. I love that we saw Mon Mothma. In this one. I think it's going great. And yes, episode 4, buckle in.
Yeah.
If they're putting episode 5 in the theaters, I'm gonna get off here and see if I can buy a ticket right now.
Yeah.
So. Anything else, William? We ready to wrap it up?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me go then. You want me to just go to the channel news right quick, and then
sure, go ahead.
we'll let all these good people go so they can finish lunch and get back to work or whatever you're doing on this great Thursday.
So real quick, the one that's going to be closest to you and I, there's an AMC North Park 15 IMAX in Dallas, Texas.
Ooh.
It'll show at 7 p.m. on September 12th.
Really?
So that's the one that's going to be, closest to you and I.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, I might be out that direction a little earlier than planned. That would be that. Wow. That would be not if you don't want to, Mark. I don't know. You have to handle just handle it. However, whatever you feel like.
There you go.
But yeah, so we might talk about that.
We'll look into it.
Hitchhiker Chat, guys. Check out Hitchhiker Chat from a couple of weeks ago. We talked about Ahsoka's background. If you're still interested in that, you're just kind of behind on some of this. In the watching of these episodes, we talk about in that episode of Hitchhiker Chat where she came from, who she is. That's still out there. We're getting some great views on that. There's a new vlog coming out on Saturday. I had my granddaughters last weekend, so posting of our dining review, Roundup Rodeo Barbecue in Toy Story Land was delayed a little bit. Apologize for that, but that'll come out on Saturday. I'm just about finished with that. And again, be sure to join us, for our weekly show. Our regular show is called Hitchhiker Chat. It's on Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. So join us or, watch on the replay if you want to, check out some of those. We cover a ton of Disney news, whatever's going on, topics of the day, anything that comes into our heads. So check that out. We also have, check out our playlist. Definitely. We did reviews of this, similar to this, for Obi-Wan Kenobi, for The Mandalorian, all the seasons of The Mandalorian, also the Book of Boba Fett. So if you're interested in those, back up and check those out. And also, channel announcement, be sure that you're subscribed and ring that notification bell because I will be at Walt Disney World in 7 days. I'm really excited. Hopefully this time next week, I will be in the air, headed to Walt Disney World. And so I've already got some live streams scheduled. So, no theaters near y'all, Mark.
And then Mark's posted a link there to which theaters are showing it. So check that out if you're interested.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Sure. But yeah, I will be in the parks. I'll be there for about 5 days and I'll be live streaming, probably almost every day, if not every day. And so I'm looking forward to that. It's kind of a pop-up trip and I'm really, really excited about it. Going to meet up with some great friends while I'm there. And Pete McDevitt and his family are supposed to be down. Jeanette, Sebastian the Crab. Dean, of course. Dean and
lots of friends then.
Yeah, the gang's going to be all there. Jennifer Caruso, Kenneth H is going to be there. So, so lots of folks.
Good crowd.
Yeah, great crowd. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be tons of fun. So yeah, you guys be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks. Also to our channel members, gosh, we appreciate you guys so much. Anybody that appears in the chat in green are our channel members. They bless us with, with some extra love every month. Mike Wheeler, Tina McNeil, Brian's West Coast Disney Adventure, Mike 88 NYC, and Texas Takes. Thanks so much to you guys for for being channel members. We
Yes, thank you.
truly appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
So again,
Hit
we're
that
you know
like
we're on.
button.
Yeah, like, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we go live and when Mom goes live next week from the parks. Check us out on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you want to reach out to us, you can send us a direct message on Instagram or email us at thehitchhikingbones@gmail.com. Thanks to everybody for being here. Thanks to those on Team Replay. Shout out to Lisa, Keith, and Joey of It's Joey's World for being the captains of our Team Replay. Shout out to Aunt Joy and Aunt Susan, Jillian, Kylie, and other family members. Kenneth H., Wonderful World of Walter's dad, Mark, Pam's fam, Dean the Turkey Lexter, Movie Mania Nick, Surf Bum, Adventures by D, and Katie Mack, Wishing on Stars. If I missed you, I apologize. I do the best I can to keep track of everybody who comments. And so if I missed you, I apologize. Let me know, and I'll thank you properly for being here. But, hey, welcome in to West Coast Disney Adventure. There we go. So thanks for dropping on with Brian. We're closing down shop here, but thanks for hopping in so we can say hi to you. Before we go. Anything else you want to mention before we hop off?
I think that's it, guys. Join us next week for episode 4, our review of episode 4. And by all means, check out that link that Mark dropped if you're interested in seeing episode 5 in theaters. We are going to pursue that. Yeah. Definitely, I have to do that. I mean, we have to. Right. I mean, how can we not?
Yeah. All right. I think that's it. Anything else real quick?
At the Hitchhiking Bones YouTube channel, there is always room for one more. So please hurry back.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks so much, guys, and may the Force be with you.
Always. Till the spire.
Bye, guys. Enjoy your day.